Lucifer, a name that evokes both curiosity and fear. He was the brightest star of the heavens, the most beautiful and powerful angel, God's masterpiece. But what really happened for the greatest of angels to become the leader of a celestial rebellion? How did pride transform him into the adversary we now know as Satan? Imagine a perfect kingdom, where Lucifer's light illuminated everything around him. He was the reflection of divine glory, a being admired for his wisdom and beauty. But something changed. What seemed like a small doubt turned into a tragedy that shook the heavens. Lucifer looked at himself and asked, "Why should I serve?" And so began his journey of pride and fall. This is the story of the greatest rebellion ever recorded, how perfection gave rise to evil, and how the choice of a single angel altered the fate of the heavens and humanity. Before we dive into this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you won't miss any future revelations. Like this video and share it with someone who might also wonder, how did Lucifer, the brightest star, fall into darkness? Now, get ready to uncover the secrets of this fall. You're about to discover how the pride of a single being echoed throughout the universe and still influences our world today. To understand how it all began, we must return to the beginning. Before chaos, there was a kingdom of order and light. The heavens were governed by a harmony so sublime that it is difficult for us, as humans, to even imagine. Each angel had a specific mission, a perfect purpose given directly by the Creator. This celestial kingdom was divided into hierarchies: the seraphim, who sang incessantly, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord," the cherubim, guardians of divine wisdom, and the archangels, messengers and warriors of the Almighty. Among them all, there was one angel who stood out uniquely: Lucifer. He was called the morning star, the son of the dawn. His name meant bearer of light, and he lived up to that title. God had created him as the most beautiful of all, the first of his celestial children. His wings shimmered like fire, and his wisdom was unmatched, second only to the Creator himself. He led the angelic choirs, and his voice resonated like a flame, guiding the praises of the Most High. Lucifer was not just beautiful, he was powerful, intelligent, and inspiring. The other angels looked up to him with admiration and respect. He was, quite literally, God's masterpiece. Divine creation had never seen anything so perfect, but as we know, perfection comes with its risks. God, in his infinite wisdom, had given all the angels something special: free will. They could choose to serve with love and devotion. Lucifer, too, had this choice, and it was precisely in this freedom that the seeds of his fall began to be planted. For as much as he shone, Lucifer's light depended entirely on the glory of the Creator. However, a thought began to rise in his heart. Small at first, almost imperceptible, but powerful enough to initiate a change that would shake the heavens themselves. Lucifer looked at his light and asked himself, "Why must I depend on another to shine?" That question, seemingly harmless, would be the beginning of the greatest celestial tragedy. It was just a thought, a nearly invisible doubt. Lucifer, God's masterpiece, began to see his own light differently. He wondered, why must my glory always reflect another? What if my light is enough on its own? These questions seemed harmless, but they were like small cracks in a perfect mirror. Slowly, they began to grow. Among the angels, Lucifer still shone intensely, but something in his behavior began to change. He became more introspective, distant, as if something was troubling him. Gabriel, the archangel messenger, tried to approach him. "Lucifer, brother, what is going on? Your light seems restless." Lucifer responded enigmatically, "There are things that perhaps even we cannot understand, Gabriel." Meanwhile, in the celestial kingdom, God revealed a grand plan. He would create a material universe, vast and full of life, that would reflect His glory in a new way. At the center of this plan would be humanity, beings created in the image and likeness of God, who would receive a special gift: the ability to love, choose, and serve the Creator freely. For the angels, this revelation was a moment of jubilation, but for Lucifer it was different. He remained silent. In his heart, something felt wrong. Why would God give so much to beings made of flesh and clay? Why should we, made of light, bow before something inferior? God revealed even more. He Himself would take the form of one of these beings, becoming human in the person of Jesus Christ. And, in His humanity, all the angels would be required to worship Him. This vision shook Lucifer deeply. He saw the Son of the Most High, wounded and humiliated in an act of sacrifice, and in his mind, an idea began to form. This is an affront to our celestial glory. It was at that moment that Lucifer began to distance himself, not only from the other angels but also from God. He stopped seeing divine light as something greater than himself. Instead, he began to believe that he should be worshipped. Doubt transformed into pride, and pride soon gave rise to something far more dangerous. The rebellion was only beginning. Lucifer did not merely question God's plan in his heart, but began to share his thoughts with other angels. He carefully chose those who, like him, possessed great power and influence. "Don't you see the contradiction?" he would say. "We are made of light, yet God asks us to bow before inferior beings made of flesh and clay. Isn't this humiliation?" His voice was calm but carried a conviction that made others listen. Among the angels, Lucifer's words began to create division. Some, perplexed, asked, "Why question the Creator's plan? He is perfect." But others, captivated by Lucifer's logical reasoning and authority, began to see sense in his words. Little by little, he gathered allies, forming the seed of what would become the first army of rebels in heaven. God, in His infinite patience and wisdom, perceived the unrest in Lucifer's heart. He called out to him with a voice resonating with love and mercy. "Lucifer, my son, I see the doubt in your heart. Your light has always been a reflection of my love from the very beginning. Do not be seduced by it as if it were your own. Remember, all light comes from me." But Lucifer, now blinded by his pride, replied, "My light is the gift you gave me. I cannot help but feel that it is also my own." Although his response was respectful in form, it carried a subtle rebellion in its essence. God gave Lucifer one more chance but did not interfere with his freedom. This was the final test. Lucifer had the choice to abandon his doubts and return to divine communion, or to follow the path he had begun to carve for himself. As days passed, Lucifer became increasingly distant. He avoided collective praise, and his eyes, once radiant with adoration, now seemed to reflect only his own glory. Meanwhile, his allies grew in number. He promised them something that seemed unattainable: a kingdom where we will not need to bow our knees, where we will not be servants, but kings. These words were irresistible to many. And then came the moment that would change everything. God gathered the heavens for an announcement. The universe is about to be created, and on earth you will see my glory manifested in a way never imagined. While the angels sang praises at the revelation, Lucifer remained silent. His heart was consumed by a mixture of pride and resentment. He would not bow. Lucifer secretly called upon those who followed him. "God asks the impossible of us," he said, "but we can create our own kingdom, a kingdom where true light will be exalted. Are you with me?" And so, the first act of rebellion began to take form. It was not just a revolt against God, but against the very concept of humility and obedience. Lucifer's rebellion was not immediate. It was planned, built piece by piece until it became inevitable. The tension in heaven was palpable, and the faithful angels watched, fearing what was to come, for they knew something grand and terrible was about to unfold. And then, finally, the tension in heaven reached its breaking point. Lucifer, with his light now distorted by pride, decided there was no turning back. He stood before the Creator and, in a calm but resolute voice, declared, "I will not bow. We were made of light, perfect in every way, and you expect us to abandon our dignity to serve something inferior? I do not accept." These words echoed like thunder across the heavens. The other angels, perplexed, watched in silence. Many had never imagined anyone could oppose the Creator. Yet among them, a third had already been swayed by Lucifer's words. He was not alone. Lucifer turned to the angels who followed him and said, "The time has come to claim what is rightfully ours. If the Lord cannot see our true greatness, then we will create our own kingdom, where our light will be exalted." What happened next shook the very foundations of the universe. God, in his infinite wisdom, allowed Lucifer's choice to reach its ultimate consequences. And then Michael appeared, the archangel, small in comparison to Lucifer's majesty, yet filled with a strength that came not from himself, but from his faith. He raised his sword and declared in a voice that reverberated across the heavens, "Who is like God?" This simple phrase was a reminder to all angels of what truly mattered. The Creator was the source of all light, all wisdom, all perfection. There was no one, not even Lucifer, who could compare to him. Michael, with his sword shining like the sun, led the faithful angels in defense of the celestial kingdom. Lucifer, now accompanied by an army of rebellious angels, launched himself into battle. It was a war like no other. Rays of light and darkness cut through the firmament as the celestial forces clashed. Each strike of light was accompanied by thunder, and every movement of the angels' wings created waves of energy that reverberated through the universe. Yet, despite their strength and numbers, the rebel angels could not match the power of the faithful ones, who fought with the conviction that they stood on the side of truth. Michael, in particular, proved to be a formidable leader, his unshakable faith being the source of his strength. He turned to Lucifer, who still shone like a star, though his light was now cold and devoid of love. "Lucifer," said Michael, his voice firm, "your light is but a shadow. You were created to reflect the glory of God, but you chose to distort it. There is no victory for you here." Consumed by rage, Lucifer replied, "You don't understand, Michael. The light you call a shadow is my true glory. I will not bow to the Creator or to you." With these words, Lucifer launched a direct attack against Michael, but his strength was overshadowed by the archangel's conviction. Michael raised his sword, and with a single stroke of light, he delivered the final blow that severed Lucifer from his celestial glory. Lucifer fell, along with his army, cast out of heaven like falling stars. Lucifer's fall was a catastrophic event. He and his followers were thrown into an abyss of darkness, far from the presence of God. The morning star, once so glorious, had become the prince of darkness, and his light, once pure, was now consumed by hatred and vengeance. As the heavens returned to harmony, a wound remained. Lucifer's rebellion had left deep scars, not only in the celestial realm but also in the balance of the universe. God, in his infinite wisdom, knew that the conflict between good and evil would continue, but that in the end, light would always triumph. Lucifer's rebellion left marks that would echo throughout creation. His fall was not just a celestial tragedy. It brought with it the seed of evil, a shadow that would seek to infiltrate the heart of humanity. Expelled from heaven, Lucifer became Satan, the adversary, determined to destroy everything that reflected God's glory. But what does this story mean for us today? In the human heart, the battle between light and darkness continues. Just as Lucifer questioned God's plan, we often face moments of doubt, pride, and difficult choices. The temptations we encounter are echoes of that original rebellion, a relentless attempt by Lucifer to separate us from the Creator and the purpose for which we were made. But just as Lucifer's fall was inevitable in the face of divine truth and power, we are also reminded that goodness, light, and love always prevail. Michael's victory, along with the faithful angels in heaven, was a testament to this reality. Humility and faith are stronger than any selfish ambition or pride. That's why Michael's question still resonates today. Who is like God? Lucifer's fall also teaches us that no matter how beautiful or perfect a creation may be, when it deviates from the source of its light, it loses its purpose. Pride not only destroyed Lucifer's position but also forever separated him from that which gave meaning to his existence, the presence of God. However, this story does not end in destruction alone. The victory of the faithful angels reminds us that there is always a choice. Every day we have the opportunity to choose between light and darkness, humility and pride, obedience and rebellion. Even in the face of temptations, divine grace is always present, offering us the strength to resist and remain steadfast. In the end, Lucifer's story is not just about a fall, but also about the importance of choice. God granted free will to all his beings, celestial and human alike, and it is through this gift that we are called to love and serve authentically. Lucifer chose darkness, but each of us can choose the light. And so, the question remains, what will you choose? In the face of daily temptations, doubts, and challenges, will you follow the path of humility and faith, or be seduced by the deceptive brilliance of pride? Lucifer's story is both a warning and an inspiration. For as long as there is light, darkness will never prevail. The story of Lucifer doesn't end here. His fall marked the beginning of a conflict that still resonates in heaven and on earth. In the next chapter of this story, we will explore his impact on humanity, and more importantly, his role in the apocalypse, the moment when the fate of all souls will be decided. If you were intrigued by the events we explored today, don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to follow the next episodes, where we will dive into the prophecies revealing Lucifer's ultimate fate and the definitive victory of light over darkness. Like this video and share it with someone you believe needs to know this fascinating story. And don't forget, leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think we can learn from Lucifer's fall? Your input is essential for us to keep bringing you content like this. So, until the next video, where together we will continue unraveling the mysteries behind the eternal battle between good and evil. And remember, light always triumphs over darkness, as long as we choose to follow it.